Hello. Hello. I am an author. I'm also one of the biggest eggs you'll ever meet. Because my real name is Lee Benson, although lots of people think that's a made-up name, but it's one my mum and my daddy gave me. But my other name is Henry Egg, because I write lots of stories about eggs, of which the character is Henry, who is a James Bond of the egg world. His girlfriend Shelly, which I'll read you a bit later, and they've got another friend in this story who's called Eggskimo Joe, because he lives at the North Pole. And this story has got in the back real photographs of the North Pole. Has anybody ever been to the North Pole? You go down the high street, turn left, and you keep going a long, long way till it gets a lot colder. Then you put your anorak on and your woolly shoes and socks and hats, and you keep going even further. And then the lady who took these photographs spent thousands of pounds going to the North Pole to see real polar bears. And the problem was, having spent all that money and going to the most famous part of the world where the polar bears were, they'd all gone on holiday. But did you know that there is a polar bear shop at the North Pole? And she actually bought this furry polar bear to take photographs with Henry, Shelly, and Eggskimo Joe. Can you believe that? So there's the pictures, real photographs of the real North Pole with a toy polar bear, but a real dog, Husky, who sadly tried to eat Eggskimo Joe, and we had to rescue him and bring him back home. It's all true. Would you like to hear a true story about Dan Bear, who's an ice skating polar bear? Does anybody say yes? Yes. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I shall begin. Now then, it starts off like all good stories. Once upon a time, there was a lot of ice. Actually, there was a whole continent of ice. And on the ice was a bear called Dan. Some eggs called Henry, Shelly, and Eggskimo Joe. And believe it or not, a pole. And one day, the pole began to vibrate, ever so slowly at first. Then it shook, and it shook, and it shook, and it creaked, and it stopped. The pole did creak, the pole did shake. And here is where you all have to say, but did it break? And you go, not yet. Otherwise I can't turn the page, okay? Let's try it. Did it break?
Not yet.
The grown-ups can't do a good job, can they? Did it break?
Not yet.
Oh, this is hard work. So, Dan Bear was out on his skates looking for fish, and he came across a hole in the ice. And sitting beside the hole was Eggskimo Joe. Shh, said Joe. I'm fishing. Dan was very perplexed. What is an egg doing fishing on my ice? The picture. Well, the pole did creak and the pole did shake. But did it break?
Not yet.
Yay, well done. The sun shone on Henry as he sat on a deck chair, enjoying the winter break. Shelly was sipping an ice Mary through a giant straw. She slurped divinely on the crushed ice, the cranberry juice, and just a touch of snowflake drink. When suddenly, Dan Bear whizzed by rather too fast on his skates, waving madly, and before he knew it, he hit the pole rather too hard for his liking. The pole did creak and the pole did shake, but did it break?
Not yet.
The pole made a funny noise and a crack appeared in the ice. And slowly it grew and grew, and a huge chunk snapped off and fell into the sea. And Henry, Shelly, and Dan Bear were sent flying into the air. Woo! Cried Shelly. Eggs on ice! As they all came to a stop in the snow. The pole wobbled and wibbled and moved again. The pole did creak, the pole did shake, but did it break? Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Eggskimo Joe heard the noise, and he was not amused. His fishing trip was ruined, and he stormed off to his igloo. "This is not the way they should act in this special place on Earth," said Eggskimo Joe. Then all of a sudden, his house slid sideways near to the sea. "Oh no," he cried, very frozen with fear. "My home is slip-sliding away." Sorry about that. The pole did creak, the pole did shake, but did it break?
Yes.
Henry slid over to the igloo and he knocked on the door. "I'm not in," said the door rather loudly. "Can't you see this is a disaster in the making?" Henry looked puzzled and perplexed. The pole did creak, the pole did shake, but did it break?
Yes.
Suddenly, a knocking sound came from the pole. "Hello? Is there anybody up there? Does anybody speak penguin?" Henry, Shelly, Dan and Eggskimo Joe looked on in amazement. "What's that?" they all said. The pole spoke again. "Hello? Hello? I'm down here." The pole did creak, the pole did shake, but did it break? Now everybody knows that there's no such thing as a pole that goes through the earth. But the wind blew, the ice flew, and the storm grew, and the temperature was very, very cold. Then all of a sudden, Dan began to dance around the pole. "Look at me," he said. "I'm pole dancing, you might say." Sorry about that. The pole did creak, the pole did shake, but did it break? Eggskimo Joe thought and thought, then he came up with the answer. "I have some ice glue in my igloo." So he squished the whole lot over the ice and waited to see his results. Henry said it wouldn't work and moved over the glue, and Julie got stuck on the ice. "Oh no," said Henry, "I'm stuck." Well, Shelly glared and was furious, but being the greatest singer around, began to shrill her highest notes. Crack! And the ice broke into 1,000 pieces, and Henry was shot up into the clear blue sky. The pole did creak. We're nearly finished, young man. The pole did shake, but did it break? Dan Bear was very afraid because his land was breaking up. The sun was shining, but his heart was breaking. He reached for the pole and he shook it hard. The ice grew thin, the crack grew larger, and nobody knew what was going on. The pole did creak, the pole did shake, but did it break? The sea began to flood over the ice, and Henry, Shelly and Eggskimo Joe and Dan Bear were very scared. The igloo sank into the sea. The earth began to shake. "Oh no," they all cried out. "What can we do?" The earth did creak, and the earth did shake, but did it break? The end. Do you know why? Because all you wonderful little peoples are going to save planet Earth, aren't you? You're going to tell those grown-ups that have been ruining it to stop it and be wonderful. Correct? And there are the pictures of the North Pole with the real Henry, Shelly and Eggskimo Joe. And normally I have a big screen. Sorry, Jack. And more pictures. And here's the moment just before the dog tried to eat Eggskimo Joe and lick him to pieces. Save planet Earth. Thank you very much. Enjoy that. Anybody got any questions about North Pole? Do you know how to get there now? No? If you want a signed copy, you can have one. See that lady? And I'll sign them. Thank you. If you want another story, you've got to ask her, because she has to ask me, Jenny, to say, would you read another one?
We read another one. Yes, please.
I never thought you'd ask. Do you want to know the story now while you're all sitting?
Yes, please.
Yes, please? You can have... Right, because you've got to remember this now. We're now going to do the alien egg story or Shelly egg. You have a choice. Shelly egg is all about an opera-singing egg that meets her great hero, the great Omeletto, and sings. Would you like to hear that one? Or alien egg is about an alien egg that gets chased around the universe by a race of egglets, and all they want is a story from him. Which one do you want? Both. Yeah, okay. We'll do alien egg first. How about that? Now with alien egg, oh, I love your outfit. Can I borrow that? I think I'd look brilliant in that. Oh, wow. Isn't that wonderful? Alien egg, you have to do this. You've got to practice now. You've got to go, when I say, alien egg, alien egg, alien egg. Let's try it all together. Alien egg. I had to get up early to come here. Come on. Alien egg, alien egg, alien egg. The sort of thing us pensioners do at this age, you know. So this is called The Adventures of Alien Egg, the Eggstraterrestial, by me and my great friend Gary, who did all the illustrations, which you can have a look at later. Wow. Now Gary used to be a history teacher, boo-ha, but he's a very good painter. And because we're both the same age, that's why you'll find out in some of the stories that we have influences of like our music. So Slip Sliding Away, Paul Simon. We've got Status Quo in this one. Another adult humour. So if you read it, you see, you can go cringe, but the kids just accept it for what it is. We have to enjoy ourselves. I don't believe you should have a children's book where the adults shouldn't enjoy reading it. Are you ready? Have you got your safety belts on? The Adventures of Alien Egg, the Eggstraterrestial, by me! Once upon a time, there was a fridge. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lift off! And the fridge left the kitchen in a cloud of green smoke and smashed through the roof of the house. It kept going and going and going into outer space. The fridge door opened and the egg box flew out. And in the box there was an egg. An extraterrestrial egg. Alien egg. They're not playing.
It's very quiet.
Jenny, they're not. Will you tell them that? They're not playing. You tell them. If you don't do it, I won't turn the page. Let's try it again. Alien egg. Can we do it in silly voices? Because you're all sounding very growing up. And the children will not be impressed, will you? Let's try it one more time. That's better. Home in space and free to fly. The box sped off into the dark, dark sky. The lid opens and guess what? Out flew a green upside down egg with big bright red antennas and big cosmic eyes. Where to now, it thought. Left, right, up, down, fast, fast, gone. Alien egg. Enormous planet, greater than huge, appeared, and it was covered in yellow, lumpy custard. Custard factory! Sorry! And with a cough and a splutter, it landed on the most luminous, splidgiest, splodgiest, slumpiest, bumpiest custard-covered planet in the whole universe. And it stopped dead on the very edge of a delicious egg custard crater. Gathered below were 100 egglets humming together. And they all stared at the extraterrestrial and then slowly edged towards to capture Alien Egg. No chance! No way! I've got to go, said Alien Egg. And there was a huge pink explosion of the pinkiest pink and really red stars and Ziggy Wiggy Thunderbolts. And Alien was in the pink. Alien Egg! Alien Egg! Alien Egg! Alien twisted and turned and rocked and rolled and nearly turned inside out, then suddenly found himself being absolutely sucked into a very, very black hole. Oh, Alien Egg gulped Should I stay or should I fly now? Down, 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 deeper and down. Alien egg crashed, but as if by magic, it landed on a massive winged chair. What have we here? Thundered a voice. An egg on my chair! Whatever next? A giant hand swooped down and gathered up the extraterrestrial for a much closer look. Glowing green and trying to look very fierce, Alien stared eye to eye with a very hairy, whiskery, ugly, enormous galactic humanoid who was wearing a very nice bow tie and a polka dot boxer shorts. Cannot be, for I cannot see as the light is too bright, he exclaimed as the glow became stronger. And in a space instance, he put the extraterrestrial into a very expensive crystal glass from Stourbridge. Ha! That'll do nicely, he said, and stormed out of his cosmic grotto. Alien egg! Alien egg! Alien egg! Alien egg banged against each side of the glass. Oh no! I'm stuck and very dazed. Then, mustering up all the power. Have a look at that one for a second. Then, mustering up all the power inside his alien shell, his antenna started to buzz and hum and crackle and spark, so much that the glass began to glow. Alien, ouch! Alien, ouch! Alien, ouch! The vase grew hotter, and suddenly it began to melt, which was a good job. As Alien Egg began to boil, it then landed into a giant globe of water and shattered into a million zillion pieces like stars on a dark, clear night. It began to bubble and scubble and down into the deeper water, which began to feel particularly tense, making Alien Egg feel particularly tense. From green to blue, then to white, the globe of water had frozen into a block of ice, freezing the Alien Egg deep inside, which wasn't very nice. Time stood still. Was this to be or not to be? A chilling end. Then something very strange began to happen. The antenna began to pulse and pound and bump and thump, melting a path across the frozen extraterrestrial. And very faintly you could hear, Alien egg, Alien egg, Alien egg. With some space-frozen magic, a crack appeared above its head, and the noise began to get louder, and the ice began to fall away, when whoosh! At 1,000,000 miles per second, the extraterrestrial launched up and away, and it zoomed through not one, but 2 solar systems, 3 quasars, and 5 space Roger stations. Alien Egg was so pleased to be free, it didn't see the giant net. Gotcha! Cried 100 egglets. We've been waiting for you for light years and longer. Tell us about the story! Tell us about the story! Tell us about the story! They all shouted as one. Good job, it's a good strong floor, isn't it? They placed the extraterrestrial onto a very special egg stand and waited and listened in total solar silence. Alien Egg. Alien Egg stared and gulped and then coughed and took a deep breath, and then, as only aliens could do, it started to talk to the gathered egglets. Once upon a time, there was an egg. The end. Now then. There's a real alien egg, and you're all going to draw an alien egg in a minute. Grown-ups can be included, and I just have to show you the best bit, because here are the stars. These are the egglets. And if you look carefully, you will find yourself in this picture. Now, this is the birth. Anybody else got a birthday this week? This is our birthday girl. What's your name? Molly's birthday today. What do we do? Happy birthday to you. Look at the power of you, Molly. Birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Molly. Happy birthday to you. Which one are you? That one. Smiling. Which one are you? That one with a big smile. Which one are you? Love your glasses, aren't they cool? I think you're that one there. Where you go? Are you an egg as well? I think you're that one down there. Which one are you? Pick one. That one! Oh, you're a star. Are you an egg? Oh, let's see. Yes, we have. There's you. Which egg are you, princess? Where's the princess? That one, bright red one. Okay. Do you want to be an egg? You're a star. Shall we have your big blue one? That's you. You all right in the back there? So that is the story of the alien egg, the extraterrestrial. You enjoy that? There you go. Shall I take a break, or would you like to draw, or would you like one more? Or have you all had enough? I think they're $7.99, something like that. Because they're first editions, I'll sign them for you, whatever.
Do you want to get Lee to sign your book?
There you go. And then who would like to draw some eggs? Huh?
Could you sign it?
Oh yeah, certainly. Look at that old.
We'll look at it later.
All right. One.
With my arms and my legs and my body.
Beautiful. Remember we said that we take one for Christian though. Christian is in one, so he put for it's called Harris the book is about one first. I'm not going to stand that back. There you go. So there's a little selection. Sending me on a train. Yeah, then it's me. And I think, yeah, the old school very like serious.
My birthday on left-handed leaf for me. That's it, the illustrator.
That's it. Maybe we could
Who wants to draw some eggs? You can either draw a picture of an egg alien egg, or his alien eggs are green with the purple eyes, or you can actually paint on an egg, like
oh my gosh,
She's not what she's doing. She's going to be four tomorrow.
My phone's not I didn't say to my I'll try to do this today. Sure. You draw an egg?
Project